Gonna close all the doors here.
Yeah, you know, it's gotta be silent. Don't forget the other door over there. All right, there we go. Now we got perfect silence.
Oh, we're already live, my boy.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right, so check it out. What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of the Inspired Challenge podcast. As you can see, today I have with me a young man who has come with some concepts in mind that he wanted to discuss. So it is my pleasure to introduce one Mr. Jacob Scully. Jacob, tell the people how you doing.
I'm doing fine.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm doing fine. Just came from church. It was a great sermon that the pastor gave. I really liked it. Had a couple laughs in there. It was pretty fun. So,
absolutely, my man. And yeah, I'm excited to get on with you. We have been working on this for a number of months now. It's gotta be months now. Holy smokes, man. And so as we get ready to get into this, I know you've got a couple of topics in mind that you want to talk about, and you guys are going to see me over here. Jacob wants to go or send the link out to someone. So I'm working on getting that. But Jacob, while I get that ready, would you like to go ahead and go into your topics?
Okay, so the first topic I have is about like today's generation, and I'm saying this as broad. I'm not saying this to every individual. I'm saying this like just broadly. Like mostly everyone, they don't really have a lot of respect, and I'm not sure if this is how they're being treated or how they're growing up in the environment they're in. But it's just something that I've noticed. Honestly, I don't really like it because like even to like their elders and such, they don't really like respect them as much. Again, I'm not saying it's because of the environment. It could be, it's a possibility, but like I don't know what, but they're just not really respectful and like courteous of others, and it's something that I'm not 100% fine with. If I can make a difference to that, I would very much would, but it's something that I definitely wanted to kind of point out.
All right, and you see that I sent you that link, so feel free to go ahead and send that out as we continue to get into it. And just to respond to some of the pieces that you said there, like I definitely noticed that as well. I saw numbers that said that when it comes to Gen Z and Gen Alpha, mainly Gen Zs though, that some employers are finding it more difficult to keep them as employees because there is this like idea of being able to have more freedom of expression in terms of what you want to dress, not necessarily want to adhere to dress code and things like that. So that's just like a microcosm of how I've seen it.
Yes, like it's like something that they do. It's more so of what they want to do and not really much of what like is required. Like if you go to a place where it requires a specific dress code, and if like someone in Gen Z, like they're going to that, they probably would like put on clothes that does not really 100% comply with the dress code, which is just showing that they don't really care about the rules that they have, and they don't really respect it, and a lot of those stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you had a few more topics too that you wanted to bring up and be able to address.
Yes, I did.
And we'll just want to make sure you guys have a hard out at 3:15. Was it right?
Yes, 3:15.
3:15.
Got it.
So we got 12 minutes, my man.
Okay, we're gonna speed run now.
Rip and fire.
So qualities of a leader. Some that I've definitely seen is some that some leaders do lack is work of communication. Communication is a really good key that me personally, I like to kind of highlight in leaders because it's really important, especially in like fast moving situations that you're in. Like emergency situations, let's say someone, let's say got shot in the leg. The leader needs to have good communication to kind of make things go fast and kind of get that person help and stuff. So communication is definitely a big thing. And also engaging in everything that they do, it's another good thing because it shows that they care about their group that they're in, and it shows that they would pretty much help them whenever they need to and with whatever they can help with. And also, they don't keep everything to themselves. Like, they kind of share the work with others.
Right.
And that's the thing with kind of having being the leader of a group of people. You don't do everything yourself. You share the work with others, so you're not stuck with all the burden and stuff. So that's something. And then another thing with being expert is with leading a group of people, especially a new group of people, is setting certain expectations. And something that I've heard a lot from my friend's dad before, especially in the Scouts, is you need to inspect what you expect. And that pretty much means to kind of you set expectations, which is what you expect, and then you inspect what they're doing to make sure they're reaching the expectations that you have for them.
Makes sense.
Clarifying boundaries that they have to follow to it could be a couple. It doesn't have to be a lot. But just setting expectations like, hey, I want this to be done. It doesn't have to be right at this moment. It just needs to be done in any way possible. That's like setting something and also giving them time to do it to actually figure out what to do and to actually get the task done. That's another quality of a good leader because it kind of you're kind of being generous of them with the amount of time they have to do a task as well as their capabilities of doing the task. And
solid.
Yes, and I got a couple quotes that I've written down.
Okay.
Yeah, so half of these are from a friend's dad, like I said. One of them is, if you fail to plan, plan to fail. Now, I really like this one because I'm in Scouts, and the Scout motto is to be prepared. And if you're not prepared, you better be prepared to get a punishment or something. And that's what you mainly prepare if you don't prepare.
Oh,
so, yeah, pretty much if you don't prepare, then prepare to have let's say other solutions to something, or have a backup plan. So that, I really like that one. And then I also really like this one because it's part of setting the ground rules that you have in the expectations. And that's, if you want to be a clown, join the circus.
Facts.
Because it's pretty much saying that if you're gonna make shenanigans, if you're gonna act crazy, you can just get on out of here. We don't want you if you're gonna act crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then another one is to praise in public and criticize in private. So, if you see someone doing something wrong, then I would say as a group, you can say yay, good job, guys. And then pull the person aside and say, hey, I didn't like how you did this. Can you try and do it better next time? I like that one because you're not calling people out on the spot and embarrassing them. So, and then back to an earlier topic that we discussed on is to inspect what you expect.
Right.
I really like this one because it makes your group kind of work to complete a common goal that you have. So I really like that one because that could also work in effective communication between the entire group itself, from then communicating hey, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do to complete this? What are some obstacles that we could possibly encounter? And then starting with topics that I got from a couple TV shows. Now, it might seem silly at first, but if once I say them, they're actually pretty wise because once you think about it and put this in real world concept, it seems like you're going to be using it a lot when it comes to leading people. And one of the first ones is to never put off until tomorrow what can be done today. And that's saying whatever you can do now, get it done today, because tomorrow it may become a bigger burden. So, like, I'm saying, whatever you can get done, you should get done, because you never know what could happen the next day. Because, like, it could be worse. It could be a bigger thing that requires more people, in which in some cases you may not have more people to do that. And then another one, it can be used in a lot of different phrases, and is as iron sharpens iron, sibling sharpens sibling. And there's a couple others. You have sibling sharpens sibling, brother sharpens brother, and sensei sharpens student. Gosh, that sounds like a tongue twister.
Right.
So, sorry. But like sensei sharpens student, I think of that as especially as the leader kind of teaching the student and making him better at something, you know? Like kind of like increasing his abilities to do some tasks, and it would expand him to do more challenging stuff and kind of take more risks. And another one that I liked is a path we seek is never a straight line. With that being said, like if you're given a task, it's never going to be perfect. Like it's never going to be 100% great, but it would be best to do it to the best of your abilities, because like if you tried, most people would say that's all that matters, because it really is. Because like if it requires a certain thing and just like you do your best and you don't meet that requirement, but you get pretty close, you did your best, you did a good job, like you put in all the work you can, like that's good enough. And my phone locked out of me. And then like once you take all those quotes and stuff, like all these qualities, and you take them and you put them in, there are some things that you would have to avoid, because you could kind of adapt to these, and it would be kind of hard to get out of a habit that you get into. So some leadership styles to avoid is to, one, do it yourself. You don't want to put all the burden on yourself. You want to share the work. Like you have people in your group for a reason. It's to help you get some stuff done.
Right.
Next thing is intimidation. Like you don't want to be that one guy that kind of threatens people to do the work. So that's not really a positive thing about a leader. Next thing is controlling. It's kind of similar to intimidation. The only difference I'd say is that you're not threatening. You're just like, hey, you need to do this, and I'm gonna watch you, and if you don't, then probably blah 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 blah, etc. So, and then when leading a group of people, there's a couple stages where you would be at. The first stage is forming, when you're kind of all coming together, and like you're all learning each other's names, and it's a new place that you guys are kind of that you guys are kind of getting into. And like once you get all that, there's going to be the next stage that is storming, and that's when you guys kind of get into some arguments, like have a couple disputes, and it's going to happen at some point. Like it's like there's no other way around it. And then you have the third stage, which is norming, and then you all kind of go back together. You all like kind of figure out the arguments that you have. You all come to like a common sense, or like an alternative way of doing something. And then you go to performing, which is when you like kind of perform the action, and you all like do a task that you've like come together and agreed on. See, that's something that I have, and if you mess up on a stage, then you always go back to forming. Like you always go back to the beginning stage, and then you got to go back to everything again. See, I like this because it kind of explains how communication is a really great thing, because like communicating with everyone and figuring out how stuff works is really essential to a good group. And then essays about circumstances. I took this essay in like probably last year, 2024, and I really liked it because it talks about how training is not really necessary to becoming a great leader, and it's about the experience they get, not about the training they have. So I'm saying, like, taking a quiz to see if you're a good leader, that is not much reliable because it doesn't prove what they can do in actual situation. And like it's being able to have like critical thinking and like fast thinking skills, good communication with others and like strangers. And I'll send you a video about one. It's a specific NFL player.
You did indeed.
Yes, and he has no training at all about any leadership, and he sprung into action with a couple other civilians.
Yeah, let's go ahead and check that video out here. That'll be this one here, I believe.
Yep.
Let's make sure that it's up here. All right, and I think we're good to go.
To a workout Sunday night when the car in front of him crashed and burst into flames. The Minnesota Vikings wide receiver says he pulled the man from the wreckage with help from the Uber driver and 3 other passerbys.
Wow.
Osborne says he then rushed to carry the man away just in case the car blew up. And that by far 10 yards is the first down he'll remember for the rest of his life.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, I really like this is because like the NFL wide receiver, he does not train to kind of do stuff like that. Like there are some training that he does like probably like running, like that's probably something that he used to like kind of get to the person and try and get him away from the fire. That's probably something that he used in training. Although that is helpful, him kind of taking command of the situation and telling people, hey, we need to get this done now. Like, that's something that it's not really trained. It's just something that he, like, caught up on due to the situation. And then this last topic that I'm about, I sent you another video about this as well.
We did indeed have it.
And this is just something that I wanted to, like, kind of, like, discuss because I like his topic, and it's about the school system and what they're teaching.
Okay. So we have, I know you guys have a hard out in about maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So we'll watch the piece and we'll have like 2 to 3 minutes of discussion on it. Okay, here we go. And that is this video here.
Expose the whole schooling system.
Here's a modern day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today. And here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today. And here's a class we used 150 years ago. Now ain't that a shame? In literally more than a century, nothing has changed. Yet you claim to prepare students for the future? But with evidence like that, I must ask, do you prepare students for the future or the past?
Watch this man.
See, I really like that quote at the end. Do you prepare students for the future or the past? I really like that because back then when the school was actually created, they prepare them for the future. But now the future is the present. So they're not really, so when you're in school, your school is actually preparing you for the present. But once you graduate and everything, you're in the future. So at that point, school really prepares you for the past and not the true future.
Man, that is certainly a truth of
really,
like things
really
update
like that.
so quickly nowadays that you pretty much in some cases the curriculum kind of has to be built as the world is going. In other cases, like certain mathematics, those are constant. That's why going for like accounting or something is always good, or engineering, because those principles stay the same. But anything technology related or communications related gets updated so quickly.
Yeah, it's like they keep teaching the same thing. They may add a couple stuff, but it's all about the same general idea of what they're teaching. They're not actually teaching stuff of what they're actually going to use in the real world. That's a big topic that I see around in school a lot.
Right.
So, although I believe it, there are also a couple things that I kind of disagree on. There's like some stuff in school that I believe this should probably stay for this reason, but there are also other things where I'm saying this has got to go because it does not help the what you're going to do in the real world at all. So
Man. That was a
long one.
I tell you what, Jacob, you might be able to make it as a rapper, man, because your ability to hit on all those.
That's my first career choice right there. How do you know?
DJ Scully on the track. Man, there's so many good pieces that you mentioned in there, and we'll have to.
It's on Scouts. It's on Scouts. It's a really good experience that you get from leadership, as well as a lot of skills that you get going from first aid to communication to kayaking and a lot of other fun activities. It's a real good thing that y'all should join.
Man, and I love it, like the fact that you've got your eye on these kinds of things, that you took the time to memorize some of these different quotes, to meditate on them, and to like go out and to see different pieces of content that even agree with and supplement an idea that you have some type of concept about. And right now you are how old again?
14.
14 years old, and your mind is already on these concepts. So that's a very good start to the adult world. There is a trait among people called conscientiousness, and a couple scientists were debating this. The idea is that conscientiousness is something that is a major determiner for how successful you will be. There are major traits to this. They involve self-discipline, organization, planning, and a few other traits. But throughout these traits of conscientiousness, if you have more of them and they're more elevated, you have an ability to more likely be successful in the future. Whereas if you have lower amounts of these traits in your personality, that can be an indicator that you won't be as successful. And what I see from you is that you seem to have a lot of conscientiousness right now, which is a good indicator, because that means you might be able to seize upon opportunities, plan things out, and seize a moment for what it's worth. Or you may have the patience, the self-control, the discipline. That's another trait of conscientiousness that allows you to be able to hold off on something and hold off from whether it's a temptation or something like that.
Correct.
Which ultimately means, you think about anything that involves patience, discipline, things like exercising, things like fasting, all of these things have benefits that are clear. No one from a medical perspective would deny that these things have benefits. So the fact that you see this, man, it's a great thing. And I definitely want to encourage you to keep sowing to that.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job right now, my boy. So
thank you.
I know we are bumping right up on the edges of y'all's time. So
very close.
Yeah. I want to go ahead. Jacob, do you have any last words before we dismiss out of this?
I want to go off of something that Andrew Tate said once, actually. He said that he would rather, like, out of two people he would hire, he would rather hire a lazy person than someone who would just straight up do the work. See, and the reason behind it is like extraordinary, because a lazy person, he would actually find quicker ways to get it done. And I really like that about especially about like everything he says, and especially about lazy people. They find different and like, let's say, unique ways to kind of get a task done. And I kind of like that. Now, the thing that kind of disputes me from that topic is that if something is done a certain way and you can't find another way around it, lazy person will still try and find a way around it, and they may mess up the task and they're going to have to do it all over again. And then that's going to kind of get maybe a little bit angry or upset, and then I'm not going to want to have to deal with that. So, like, if there's a specific thing that needs to be done, then that's what you'll need to do. But like, if there's just a task that needs to be done and you could do whatever to try and complete it, then a lazy person would be the best, because like they would find the best way and easiest way to try to get that task done.
What a piece to go out on, my boy. There are some responses that I have to a number of these different pieces, but we have come up on the last couple seconds here. So I want to thank you, Jacob. We're going to have to, of course, set up another time to get you on here and go in depth with some of these points here. I know right here we did a little blitz run through it.
We did.
It was good to have you on again, Jacob. And for everybody that tuned in to watch this live, thank you for watching live. For those that are watching on the playback, I hope that you have managed to hear some of the different things on Jacob's mind, see what he's seeing. And I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on some of what Jacob has iterated here. So Until next time, you guys, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I've been your host, Devontae Colonel, and we will see y'all on the next episode of the Inspired Challenge podcast. Take care. And we are clear.
No, my head feels